Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live. Now it will focus on the state of youth on the continent, sharing ideas, showcasing work done, and the active citizens pushing the continent forward. That's the Young African Creative Conference, which will see creatives from across the continent participate in debates, talks, and workshops over a day. The conference will be held at the J&B Hive in Braamfontein today and is the brainchild of Founder of Creative Nestlings, as well as co-founder of BlackNation Media, Andrew Simelane and Dylan Piri, who join us now to tell us more about the event. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Andrew, let me kickstart with you.
Yeah.
The concept behind this conference, where does it come from and what shaped it?
Well, I mean, essentially, you know, Creative Nestlings and BlackNation have been working together for some time now, particularly Creative Nestlings leading the way in establishing different sort of like spheres for young people to interact and communicate within the diaspora and the entire continent. And this is an idea that Dylan has been trying to execute for some time now. And finally, we had an opportunity to actually bring all the young creatives from across the continent, and some of them are flying in from, you know, the United States. So it's a great opportunity for us to actually do the conference and impact the young people of this continent. Yeah.
So Dylan, I mean, fantastic initiative, fantastic way of getting young creatives on the continent engaging and speaking to each other. What would you say is the main objective, other than having creatives in this room, having them engage? What is the objective sort of long term?
I think long term is to create a better dialogue on the continent, because those young people don't necessarily communicate on the continent and also in the diaspora, yet we share the same ideas and challenges also. So it means that we actually have the solutions to what we really need amongst ourselves. So the main objective is to be able to open up a loophole where everyone can be able to talk to each other and communicate and also work together, hopefully collaborate with and share what's happening and insights in the different countries across the continent and diaspora and stuff. So that's the main objective for us as Creative Nestlings and also as BlackNation, particularly with the conference also, especially it happening in Youth Month, also kind of helps shape what's happening in South Africa, but not just in South Africa, but on the continent also. Like you mentioned, we have creatives from across the continent, from Ghana, Uganda, from the States, Sweden, and also coming from Zimbabwe, also coming down and sharing their ideas, what's happening in their places. Also, we have South Africans also sharing what's happening also here in the country and stuff. So it's quite an interesting point to be at here right now. Yeah.
What do you think is probably one challenge that is the same or similar across the continent when it comes to young creatives?
I think the main challenge is access to resources, but the right resources, and also the access to right education also. I think we tend to focus on money, most of the time say, oh, but money, but actually before you even get the money, you have to have the right mindset, but also the right mindset comes from the right tools and education processes, I think, in the creative, especially in the creative sector. We've seen that there's a need for better education, I think, in the creative industry of what's happening. So how do you make your idea viable, but also how do you make it sustainable also? That can be through money, but also the right tools and spaces also. We find that hubs are a really big issue. I mean, me and Andrew are currently traveling across the continent, particularly SADC, where we're creating a documentary around what in terms of hubs, spaces and stuff. So what are the spaces that are available? How can we better support them also? Because we've been able to create spaces ourselves. But right now we want to be able to actually look at SADC level in terms of creating spaces and stuff. So that's the main challenge that we find.
All right, Andrew, and then just before I let you guys go, what kind of issues will be unpacked at this conference?
I mean, there's a lot of issues that we're looking at, like Dylan has mentioned so far, you know, the support that we have and the support that we need to establish within the continent, and also just looking at using each other as resources to get to the next level as young creatives or as young black entrepreneurs in this country or on the entire continent. And some of the stuff, I mean, Dylan can elaborate further on in terms of what the conference will unpack. I
think it'll look at also sustainability in terms of ideas, but also the value of the creative economy, because I think as creatives we tend to forget that we're part of an economy. We're part of a sector and industry in South Africa, but also in the rest of the continent. So it's quite important that we actually start looking at that. So the conference will unpack some of that kind of stuff. We guys from BASA will share some insights in terms of numbers of what's happening on the continent. So how much do we really generate and how much do we really contribute into the GDP and stuff in terms of job creation also, I think is quite key. I think we tend to look at ourselves as job creators, but we forget to measure that. So the conference will actually help us measure that and help us take it forward so we can actually have stats in our hands that we can work with and stuff.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming through this morning.
No, thank you for having us.
All right, that was the founder and creative director of Creative Nestlings and the co-founder of BlackNation Media, Andrew Simelane, speaking to us about the Young Creative Conference, which takes place in Braamfontein today. And of course, Dylan unpacked what we could expect if you will, of course, be attending the conference. I mean, they're sharing ideas. It's youth creatives Hives, really showcasing the work done and the active citizens that are committed in pushing the continent forward. Alrighty, it's time for us to catch up once again with the tiny lady, Dineo, and she's giving us a next song right now.